Heralded as one of the greatest guitarists to walk the earth, Jimi Hendrix writes Purple Haze because he was done playing other people's songs. He was done being a background guitarist for Little Richard, King Curtis, and the Isley Brothers. Combining blues and R&B with Jimi's signature sound, Jimi Hendrix would write a song that literally and unequivocally changed rock and roll music forever. And although many people claim Purple Haze to be about a psychedelic experience, Jimi Hendrix maintains that it was all about love. This is the story of Purple Haze. As a young man born and raised in Seattle, Jimi Hendrix taught himself to play the guitar under the influence of Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, and other blues legends. He was also left-handed, so Jimi would flip a right-handed guitar over, restring it, change the string tension, and move where the pickups were, till the guitar produced his iconic sounds with bright highs and delicate lows. He was talented, but the gigs he was getting as a backup musician were getting old fast. So he quits and flies off to New York to try and make a living playing small venues in Greenwich Village. But he didn't develop a following really, just skated by. Until one day, who should walk into one of his shows but Chase Chandler, bassist for the Animals. After Chase realized Jimi's potential, he convinces Jimi to fly off with him to England and begin to develop a band to support Jimi's eclectic guitar style. It's also quite funny that after auditions, the bassist they chose, Noel Redding, was a guitarist and never played the bass before, and the drummer, Mitch Mitchell, who was mainly focused in jazz, won his spot by a coin toss. This scrappy band of musicians would be called the Jimi Hendrix Experience. So to get things going, they decided to cover the song Hey Joe, and it rapidly became a hit in England. But this still wasn't what Jimi wanted. It wasn't his music. It wasn't his art. Jimi says, that record isn't us. The next one's going to be different. We're working on an LP which will be mainly our stuff. And they did, recording songs like You Can't See Me and Foxy Lady. And as the band was in the studio, Chase Chandler overheard Jimi working on this very interesting guitar riff. That very guitar riff would be the beginnings of Purple Haze, to which Chase Chandler predicted would be their first original hit, saying, I heard him playing it at the flat and was knocked out. I told him to keep working on that, saying, that's the next single. Jimi went on to write a whopping 10 verses of lyrics before being edited down, and they were inspired by a few things. Firstly, Jimi was an avid science fiction fan and had recently read the novel Night of Light by Philip Jose Farmer, which told the tale of a planet far, far away that had a disorienting purple haze shrouding its inhabitants. Jimi says he had a dream after reading the book where he was walking under the sea, but says he wished he could have fleshed out his ideas better lyrically, even to the point that he proposed another inspiration for the lyrics was literally about a time he believed a woman tried to voodoo trap him in love in New York. You can see that reference in the lyrics, am I happy or in misery? Whatever it is, that girl put a spell on me, Jimi says. You know the song we had named Purple Haze? It had about 1,000 words. I had it all written out. It was about going through this land, because that's what I like to do, is write a lot of mythical scenes. You know, like the history of the wars on Neptune. In order to record this incredible song, Chase Chandler recruits the help of an adventurous young engineer named Eddie Kramer. What they notice is even though Jimi was a phenomenal guitarist, he was rather insecure about his singing voice when the time came to record. Eddie Kramer says he hated the way he sounded. He thought he had the worst voice in the world. He was embarrassed about his vocal performance, so much so that I had built a series of screens facing away from the control room windows so nobody could see what he was doing. But eventually they got the takes we hear today, and the song went on to become a smashing success. And when the Jimi Hendrix Experience gave its first tour in the USA, Jimi performed the show like none other, full of pyrotechnics and sexuality. This did not go over very well with everyone, even leading a rock and roll critic to accuse Jimi of being an Uncle Tom. But Jimi was unfazed. He says, I don't care anymore what they say anymore. It's up to them if they want to mess up an evening by looking at one thing. You know, because all that is included, man. When I feel like playing with my teeth, I do it because I feel like it. You know, Jimi would pass away in 1970, just 3 years after the release of Purple Haze. But even though his career was short-lived, His influence on music has inspired generations of musicians to express themselves as freely as they like, to challenge themselves, and perhaps to challenge the world. And before we finish our story, I'd like to leave you all with this beautiful quote from Jimi Hendrix about what he wished for after his death. He says, "When I die, I want people to just play my music, go wild, and freak out. Do anything they want to do." If you enjoyed these videos and want to support the channel, please consider becoming a patron. My videos will always be free, and this is a great way to help me make them better for you. Check out my debut album, The HollyHobs, on Spotify and Apple Music, and click the like button, subscribe, and notification bell because that is the best way to get notified when a new video is released. See you next time.